Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop that actually gets you some paraphernalia and some merch to support the movement as we continue to support y'all. You can actually find the link in our Instagram Black Fox News bio, or you could just type it into the URL. Really simple, Black Fox News with a Z at the end of news. And you got different shirts and clothing lines and all in different colors, shapes, and sizes to match anything on your purses. So definitely check that out. Now, onto this news. Vice President Kamala Harris, who the Biden administration has placed as being over the immigration policy, actually wrapped up her visits around Latin America when she met with President AMLO of Mexico, AMLO being Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. So they praised the quote-unquote new era of bilateral relations between the two countries and vowed to continue their efforts to block asylum seekers from reaching the border. Keep in mind that asylum seekers often face a lot of deadly violence and kidnapping and abuse when they're traveling through Mexico from Mexican authorities and drug dealing cartel members. So keep in mind though that Kamala Harris apparently hasn't visited the border. When she was getting interviewed by NBC's Lester Holt, she was like, yeah, and we've been to the border. He's like, you haven't been to the border. And she's like, I haven't been to Europe, so I don't understand the point you're making. The point is that you making decisions about what's going on at the U.S.-Mexico border, but you don't even know how dangerous these asylum seekers are being, the situations that they're being put in. So everybody stay woke, y'all. Green Wall and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So the Department of Homeland Security actually released a report that showed that 4,000 children were said to have been separated under Trump's family separation policy, and over 2,000 children still remain separated. Now, a Biden task force that was actually set to reunite these children with their families so far have only reunified 7 children with their families. So we'll see how that turns out. The CNN, the news outlet, they actually reported that there are asylum seeking efforts trying to be thwarted, with the Customs and Border Patrol agents from the U.S. being sent to Cancun, Mexico, where everybody be going out over and partying at, whatever, along the coast. They're going there to see because they suspect there are people that are asylum seekers trying to get into the United States. So everybody going to Cancun, stay woke. Make sure you got your ID on you. Green Wall and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So Canadian media and data giant Thomson Reuters, you might have seen the news outlets, the news articles from Reuters. They actually are under pressure to end their contract with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the United States. So what happened is they actually have a car license plate tracker that they have just signed a multi-million-dollar contract with ICE for, to give them the tracker that allow them to track license plates all throughout the country. Now, keep in mind, they already have given a software program to ICE called Clear, which allows you to gather and consolidate data and information about migrants and track them across, throughout the country. So they're having a shareholders meeting where you have activists planning on bringing up to the shareholders, demanding them to demand that Reuters end their contract with ICE. Immigrant rights group Mi Gente actually said that, this tech facilitates the deportation and raids and contributes to the terrorism and distraught immigrant communities throughout the U.S. It must end that. Green Wall and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So Joe Biden is cutting off talks with Senate Republicans over his infrastructure plan, which has failed through weeks of negotiations. I mean, Republicans just can't get over raising taxes on wealthy corporations and the ultra-rich in order to fund the program. So the White House is saying that Joe Biden is actually moving on to discuss the plan with other politicians with hopes of resalvaging the plan. Now, he's also in talks with apparently the Problem Solvers Caucus, where this is a group of dozens of bipartisan House members that are actually proposing a $1.2 trillion infrastructure plan. Right now, Biden is actually set to go overseas, which will include a stop at the G7 summit. So we will see how these negotiations talk out. He's been talking about this infrastructure plan for a minute. Seems like it would bring a lot of money to the same sectors that interest the Republicans. But maybe those taxes are just too much. It hurt their pockets too much. Green Wall and graduation though. For the other new world though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Prominent civil rights groups actually met with Senator for West Virginia, Joe Manchin, in hopes of convincing him to support the For the People Act, which actually proposes sweeping voting rights protection at the federal level. And he said that his opposition still remains the same. Despite co-sponsoring the fucking bill back in 2019, he actually now says that it's the lack of bipartisan support of the bill that has him not for it. He would, however, support the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which Biden also supports. But this actually has a little bit more bipartisan support. However, Senate Minority Leader, I gotta say that now, Mitch McConnell actually said that he doesn't support the bill, calling it unnecessary. So you have Dr. Reverend William Barber set to lead a moral march on Manchin in West Virginia on Monday to convince him to support the act. Green Wall and graduation. Report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. More on this West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, who actually is not supporting the For the People Act, which has sweeping voter rights protection legislation in it at the federal level. Now, CNBC actually reported that Americans for Prosperity, this is a lobbying group that's backed by billionaire billionaire Charles Koch, CNBC is reporting that Americans for Prosperity has been pressuring Joe Manchin to oppose these democratic legislative bills that would protect voting rights and that would end filibusters. Now, on the filibuster tip, you got the Paycheck Fairness Act that was just recently rejected by the Senate, which is calling for more calls to end the ability for senators to use a filibuster. Green Wall graduation. Report of the New World, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report, man. Check this shit out. So you had 2 Senate committees actually return a report that basically showed that the January 6th Capitol insurrection was planned in plain sight. To use the words of Gary Peters, the senator of Michigan, and the attack was, quite frankly, planned in plain sight. Like, basically, there were a whole lot of security failures leading up to the insurrection. The Capitol Police actually knew 2 weeks ahead of the January 6th vote counting of the electoral votes that there would be some sort of a quote-unquote storm at the Capitol. Like, so they pretty much, and this is from like social media and really monitoring what these groups are doing. And now, how about that white privilege? Whereas if you black, you can't even plan an unarmed protest in plain sight without them motherfuckers barricading down a courthouse during the decision on whether a cop should go to jail for killing a black person unarmed or not. Now, in related news, you got the lawyers that represent Trump for his second impeachment, represent at least 3 of the people accused of the insurrection. Green Wall and graduation. Report out of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So you have a more transmissible version of the coronavirus right now. First spotted in India is known as the Delta variant, actually accounting for more than 6% of all COVID-19 cases in the United States. Now, obviously that raises eyebrows because the vaccines didn't account for any variants. You know what I mean? It was made before the variants. But over in Britain, it's causing them to hesitate whether they should fully reopen the country or not. Now, White House coronavirus advisor Dr. Fauci, the dude that got famous over the past year and a half or so, actually said that the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines proved to be highly effective against the variant. So, now, over 120 countries got advice from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, where it has separate advice for vaccinated and unvaccinated peoples. 33 countries, including Singapore and Israel, but I got placed on the lowest threat list of travel. But it's still recommended that unvaccinated people don't go to countries like Mexico, Russia, or Iran. You got Brazil and India placed on the highest threat risk levels, meaning you shouldn't even visit there. So that's what's going down. Green War Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Yo, the feds is watching. That's an understatement with this. You had a crazy sting internationally. An international sting operation going down led to over 800 arrests and the seizure of a ton of drugs and tens of millions of dollars. So the FBI worked in cahoots with the Australian law enforcement, where they basically came up with a encryption company called ANOM. A-N-O-M is how it's pronounced. So if you heard of it, you might want to get the fuck low, because this was then used by organized crime groups in over 100 different countries. So you had acting U.S. Attorney General for Southern California, Randy Grossman, saying that the criminal users didn't know that for 18 months the FBI was they were using this encrypted device, and the FBI got 27 million messages used by organized crime users around the world. And the FBI basically reviewed, recorded, and translated those messages. So, man, it's a crazy situation. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Burma, it's hot over there. Now, I told y'all in the past on February 1st how the military had took over the country, and they, through a coup basically, removed the official. They detained the leader of the country or whatever, and they have been running amok ever since. And there have been a lot of protests against this. And in response, the military been terrorizing the protesters. Well, it seems to be continuing, and the United Nations is warning of mass death, illness, and starvation taking place, as over 100,000 residents actually had to flee the Kaya state. Now, the United Nations is calling for immediate action in order to prevent further devastation caused by the military's indiscriminate attacks against ethnic groups and against protesters who've been really going at it with the government since they bogarted and took over the country on February 1st. So that's what's going down in Burma. If you out there, first off, get the fuck out. If you can, man, keep your head on the fucking swivel. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in El Salvador, you have, well, first off, welcome home, Sarah Rogel. This is actually a woman who had basically been serving a 30-year prison sentence for about a decade for basically accused of having her own abortion. See, in El Salvador, ever since 1998, there's been a total ban on abortions, pretty much. And you know, you have dozens of women who've been like convicted and in prison for having miscarriages and stillbirth. So she's one of those women that was on that list, where she had basically in 2012 went to the hospital after having like bleeding, claiming she had fed. So they then ended up prosecuting her and putting her in prison. So she got home. She said that she knows she's not, you know, a danger to society, and you know, she definitely is not. Crazy situation over there as far as their abortion rights. You know what I'm saying? It looks like that's where Republicans in America are trying to go. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Brady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on against reproductive rights, or you know, in regarding reproductive rights, where you have a lot of Republican legislature that's actually trying to put bans on abortion, some places near total bans, and then you also have a Supreme Court decision that's coming up that actually is going to hear a challenge to a law that was made that essentially will have Roe versus Wade in the balance in Mississippi, using Mississippi as an example. So with all of that being said, you have the Democratic lawmakers in the House reintroducing the Women's Health Protection Act, which will prevent states from being able to put restrictions on abortion. So it doesn't sound like it has a shot in hell. However, it seems like it's making a statement. You had Massachusetts Representative Ayanna Pressley speaking out, basically saying that, you know, in a climate where it's clear that legislature won't stop to actually ban abortion, you know, right now being pro-choice is not enough. We got to actually essentially affirm that abortion care is health care, and that health care is a fundamental human right. So, you know what I mean? And I could say a lot of women feel like that though. Green War and Graduation.